My name's Tim Healey. I have been involved in dance music since, well, I did my first rave in 1990 when I was at university. My earliest memory of electronic music would stem back to my parents' music collection, and my dad, who had a very eclectic and probably slightly cheesy music collection, randomly invested in some Jean-Michel Jarre records, which I was completely hooked on. That and Donna Summer's I Feel Love. And in fact, at different times in my music career, I've done rock and I've done pop production and all sorts of other things as well. But it was the thing having left university wanting to do music production, I got really into the London underground rave scene in the early 90s and felt very passionate about it and began programming in a bedroom. The biggest change I've seen in the industry as a DJ would have to be the changeover from vinyl to the USB stick as the source of all your audio in a set. And it's great on your back. There's no more do you have to carry the 50 kilos of records around the world. Now it's all just on that tiny thing that goes in your lighter pocket in your jeans. The biggest thing I've seen change as a record producer would be, well, I'd say there are two things. It would be the movement of everything into software and plugins, with some fantastic emulations coming from emulations akimbo. Obviously it's great if you can afford the real kit and it's brilliant and you'll get a unique sound, but that is a massive change. It's now completely respectable to say, actually I use almost entirely plugins. Has the switch over to digital benefited the music industry? Me as an artist, I think that I'm very lucky in that I span the pre-dance music, pre-digital days of music production, right the way through to where everything's very electronic. So I've kind of seen both sides, and I've been lucky enough to release records before everything went digital and after. So before everything went digital, there was a really exciting network of record stores all over the world. Before we made a record, we'd often see if there was demand for it. And our distributor would contact lots of record stores all over the world, and they go, yeah, we'll take a new single from them. At that point, we've not even made the track. So then we go in the studio and make it. So that's a really big change. Also, record stores were the nexus in all major cities of a place you went to get flyers on parties and all the information you wanted about underground dance culture. So I miss that big time. Of course, it means that there's a lot more music around, which is really good for people that are starting in the music industry. They can set up labels, they can get releasing, they can get their music out there. But I do feel we're slightly missing a filter that used to exist when there was a physical product. So it's brilliant that everyone can make more music and get it heard by people. That's a real democratization of the music industry. But if I'm really honest, I slightly miss the old days. But hey, here we are with the digital label, so let's see what happens. The most surprising thing I have seen in the recent innovations within the music industry as to how you run a record label is, it's much easier to set up a label these days, and it requires less investment up front. You don't have to press vinyl and do all that kind of stuff. I've started working with Tom on our new label, DB Stereo. Both Tom and I have known each other for years. I worked with his old label, Great Stuff. In fact, they were pivotal in the noughties and helping my sort of electro house act, Coburn, hit the big time, which was fantastic, so thank you, Great Stuff. And Tom, we've done a load of tracks together, and we've known each other for years, so much so our families have even holidayed together and the like, and he's a very good friend. And earlier this year, I was setting up a label with someone else. It didn't come to fruition, so I just thought, who do I know that would really appreciate working with me, that I have respect for? And I rang Tom and he said it was the most surreal thing. He was talking to his wife only the week before, and he was also moaning about the label that he had been working with. And he said, you know what, it'd be just great if Tim wanted to do a label right now. And I literally called him within a week of that. And so the plan was hatched. He flew straight over here to London. We had 3 days brainstorming on all matters to do with the label. And funny enough, one of the big things for both of us was all the back end stuff you have to do when you run a label. And I said, Label Worx. And he was aware of them, he got promos from them, but he hadn't looked into it too deeply. And when I explained the service that they'd be offering, he was bowled over. Yeah, Label Worx and what they're doing is probably the most revelatory thing that has happened of late. This new Accelerate program and the idea that you can, pay a monthly fee and have someone pick up all the slack, all the hard work that would have had to been done by a physical individual that you probably have to pay a salary to in your record label office. That's fantastic. And everything's in the cloud, so I can see everything. So, I mean, I think that's got to be a massive improvement. What makes Label Worx brilliant for myself and Tom is, well, it's easier if I explain the journey of a piece of music from creation until royalties are paid at the other end, because it's that crucial middle bit that's done by Label Worx. We supply music and artwork which is uploaded to a cloud-based website. From that moment, contracts are generated, links are generated for SoundCloud and YouTube. All distribution is sorted across all digital portals that Label Worx deal with, and any others we care to throw into the mix or mention. When it's time to collect money from sales, that's done by Label Worx, and then they even tell us what we owe our artists. If I had to summarise what Label Worx represent in one sentence, I could do it in 4 words. They are the solution. The most important thing a label these days needs to focus on would be making noise about your label. People's attention spans are so short these days that not only is your product, the fact your product is quality is a given, it's about how you market it and how you get people's attention onto it. What DB Stereo have got coming up in the next year is a load of material from me, solo material that I've produced here and elsewhere. We've got a load of solo material from Tomcraft. We've got our collaborative projects, one of which I'm particularly excited about, which is my Bennon and Healey project with Sonic Wizard Colin Bennon, who's based in Bristol. And so these will make up the sort of bones of our release schedule over the next year, but popping in and sliding in amongst those will be rising stars. Like we've got a fantastic 2 different artists from Brazil actually, one called Nitron, who's making kind of bass house with heavy sub and chopped up samples. And we've also got Erotic as well, who is fantastic. Eduardo, who's really sort of kicking out this kind of, I would almost say it's bass house is coming back and this is the new direction it's going in. What can you expect from the next year? Well, obviously the releases I've mentioned, tour dates, and please check out our releases at dbstereo.com. And yeah, watch this space. Exciting things are afoot.